Hello everyone. I'm back with a new room. So in this room we will be learning about SQL injections and different techniques of SQL injection. So let's start with a brief. Okay. So SQL injection is a structured query language. If any of you work on a web development, on some desktop development, application development, if you are much involved with website or application, then you will understand what is an SQL. Okay, so for those who don't know, SQL is a query language. Okay, so for example, we have a server. Okay, and we have a website which is targeting that server. Okay, which like the requests are going to their server, and for that server, like if you log in or if you sign up on any platform, so for your data to get saved somewhere, so people in the back time they use simple notepads or they use some light dbs. Okay, but but after the invention of SQL and MySQL, they started shifting to DBs. Okay, they are much secure. Okay, they are easy to manage, and databases are of two types. First is called structured query languages, and second is called document languages or non-structured. You can say that they are non-structured languages. Okay, so SQL is MySQL is a structured query language. So okay, it has the relationships. You can join columns, you can take a union, you can do anything you want. Okay, so the example of structured query language is MySQL, which we are gonna use, and the example of non-structured language, it could be Firebase, it could be MongoDB. Okay, yeah. So let's do SQL is structured query language, mostly referred to as SQLi. Okay, so when we talk about SQL, you will hear people saying SQLi. So that's the same as SQL language. Okay, and it is saying the same thing mm, which I have cleared you. So the first question is, what does SQL stand for? So it is structured query languages. Okay, so what is a database? So in simpler words, if I explain you, database is a bucket. It it is like a bucket, okay, which contains your data. It does not directly contain your data in it, but it contains in the form of tables. Okay. So for example, you can consider database mm, as a shelf. Okay. And the shelf is a database, and the little portion in shelf are called tables, and the data or things inside those little portions is basically your data. Okay, so that's what database is. Okay, here you can see a database can have multiple in DBMS. So basically DBMS is database management software. Okay, it can have multiple databases. Okay, for example, you may have a database called shop. Within this database you want to store information about products available to purchase, users who can sign up to your online shops, information about the orders. Okay, so as you can see, there is a database server. Okay, so there could be three database like shop, stuff, and accounts, and under those database there could be many columns like table, user, products table, order table, and just like this. Okay, so column. So these are called the columns. Like we have an ID column, we have the username column, we have the password column, and these are rows like 1, 2, 3. Okay. So ID, these are called primary keys. Okay, they are self-generated. Okay, and they keep on incrementing as you push your data inside the table. Okay. So rows is basically okay. What is the acronym for the software that controls the database? So it is DBMS. Okay. What is name of the grid-like structure which holds the data? So, which is the grid name structure? So, it's table. Okay. What is SQL? I have explained you before that what's SQL. So that's how you. These are called the queries of the SQL. Okay. So it's saying it's asterisk mean everything. Okay, so it's saying select everything from users. Okay, this is a users table, so it's saying that select everything from user and limit one. Only give me one row. Okay, so limit means just give me only the one row. Okay, so limit to one skips the first two result and so on. Okay, limit one clause. Okay, so it's basically limit. If you type limit one, it will give you one row, and if you do one, then it will skip the first two results. Okay, and so on. So that mm, everything is same, like it's saying select everything from users. Where? So where is like a condition, like so if you have ever done coding in C++, Python, on in any language, you will see that it is the same as if block. Okay, like there we write if username equal to admin, then do this. So it's the same. If username is equal to admin, then select everything from users, then show me everything where username is equal to admin, where the username is admin. So it will show you all the users where username are admin. So in this case there is only one username, so it will show you only one username. You can have duplicate username, but most of the developers like handle the duplication, so you cannot have more than one uh, username. Yeah, you can have it, but it's not like it's not recommended to have more than one username in your database. So so when you do the other things, like when you're matching the passwords of a certain username, then it would cause an issue. Okay, okay. So not equal to means where username is not equal to admin and stuff like this. You can check all these commands in your free time. Okay, we have a lot of commands. So basically this is not the MySQL course, so this is for the um, for the exploit of the MySQL databases or stuff like this. Okay, so it says SQL injection, so we will only focus on SQL injection. Okay, so what SQL statement is used to retrieve data? So we know it's select. What SQL clause can be used to retrieve data from multiple tables? Okay, if you want to retrieve data from multiple tables, you will use union. And what SQL is used to add data? Okay, for adding a data, it's called insert. Insert. Okay. Okay, what is SQL injection? Okay, let me open this in a pretty so that we have the whole level one. Okay, so what is SQL injection? Okay, so SQL injection is like we have an API. Okay, this API is calling the article which is of your user with ID 1. Okay, so backend it will go and it will fetch the user with the ID 1 article of the user which has the ID 1. Okay, so if you don't do proper sanitization, okay, then you can like get other things as well. So the this is error-based SQLi. So we have to generate an error. Okay, yeah. So let's do it. Okay, so you have to do proper sanitization of the input. For example, I have added this and I have press enter. So you see this query, okay, or this API was not sanitized properly. So that's why it's going in the backend and it's saying, oh, you have a SQL syntax issue. Okay, so so it is recommended to syntax your error so that it does not go to that stage. Once it goes to that stage, then the hackers can exploit this thing, and which is gonna be very bad for your system. Okay, so if you want to check that is my SQL is my app or web app or someone's app is vulnerable to any SQL injection, then you will add this. Okay, and you will press enter. So if you see this syntax error, then bingo. Okay, you can exploit it with SQL injection. So this this thing is used to like break out of this JavaScript, and JavaScript or any or a text or the API, okay, and then you can like do this or one equal to one, and it will give the same issue error, okay, because the syntax is not right, okay. So or means id equal to 1 or 1 equal to 1, okay. So or from the mathematics, if we called it or means that both of them, like one of them had to be true, has to be true. So either this or this. So for example, if I say if I say user, oh sorry, if I say password equals to abc, okay. So this will be always true, because even if this is not true, but this 1 equal to 1 is true because 1 is equal to 1. So this will always be true. So you have to sanitize this as well. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's start it. Let me reload it. I think I forgot. Ooh, ooh. Okay. Okay. Let's type it. ID equals to 1. Okay. Let's type it. Okay. So now we need database. Okay. So I'll go to my notes. Here you can see what how to see the database and stuff like this. So I'll copy this. I'll explain in some minutes what this does, and okay, article, and I will just remove this HTTP article. Okay, as you see. Okay, here let's see. So it is basically your website, your first parameter, and okay, and means both has to be true. Okay, so as you know, this is true because we were there is article with ID one. Okay, this is basically true. So update XML. So update XML is a MySQL function. Okay, which updates your XML. Okay, here the update XML takes three parameters. First parameter is XML target, second parameter is XPath expression, and third parameter is new value. Okay. So what does XML target does? XML targets takes the XML document which you want to update. Okay. So we add the XML document and then the XML expression. Then the XML expression parse that document, okay, and it passed the document so that it is okay for updating, okay. And new value it is used. What happens after this XPath expression? Pass it. You can update, you can add something, you can like add a variable, change the value of a variable, or you can add an XML. I'm sorry for saying the variable. XML is just like the HTML, so you can add some tag, you can edit the title, stuff like this. So here, so the question rises here: why we added one concat and one? What's this? Okay, so we didn't wanted it to work perfectly, okay, because it is says error-based SQLi. So we want to cause an error. So that's why we gave it XML target. Okay. Yeah, point to be noted. Important note. Important note. The first and last parameter can be anything, which is a valid SQL but not a valid XML. Okay. The first and last could be a valid SQL, but it cannot be a valid XML. If it is a valid XML, then this will not cause an error. Okay, so this has to be a valid SQL so that it does not give us the syntax, but at the same time it does not have to a valid XML so that it gives us the error. Okay, then one and one are XML target and new value. Now this thing concat 0x7e. So basically 0x7e is this, I mean this, you can see the key, or alphabet. I don't know. The character, sorry. Yeah. Okay, where is my okay here? So we are concatenating the 0x7e, the database, and 0x7e. So it will concate the database name. Okay. So as you can see here in level one, you can see it gave us the database name and it concatenated in these two characters. Okay. So now we have the database name and see it does not give us the error. If we, for example, if we say a ABC, okay, look, unknown column ABC in where clause. So it has to be a valid SQL. So in SQL, one is true and zero is false. So it is just it will never give you an error. Okay. Now see. Okay. So now we want to see the tables. We have the database name. Okay. We have the database name, and now we want to see the tables. Okay. Let me let me copy this and paste this so that we don't have to remove over and over. Okay, so it says select from article where id equal to 1 and update xml. It's the same. Concate 0x7 is select table name. Okay, so we have to see the table name. Here you cannot, if you have the database name, you cannot list the table directly. So as we all know that all the tables information is in information schema. Okay, information schema dot table. It will list all the tables. Okay, and we are saying that list all the table where list tables of that database whose name is SQLi1. Okay, and limit 1 and just give me one row. Okay, so if we do this, okay, if we do this, see there is a table called article. Okay, but the problem is we don't need article table. According to a question, if you say what character, okay, okay, we have to. Okay. So it said what is the flag after completing level 2? And in level 2 it asks what is the user Martin's password. So for user Martin's password we need DB. Okay. So what we can do is we can just increase the limit. Okay. If we can do this. Okay. Article. And if we do this 1 1. Oh sorry. 1 1. Okay. Staff user. See the skip first one. Okay, it say just skip first one, then show me the next one. Okay, if you do like skip two, then it won't show you. Of course, there are no more than two. Okay, so it says staff users. As you can see, you have the staff users table. Okay, now let's go next and let's see the columns of that staff table. Okay, let's go where it is. Okay, here it is. Oops, sorry. Okay, syntax you have an error in this correspond to near. Let's see XML. Okay, we have accidentally added two. Okay, okay, yeah. So this one. So as you know about the first one, and this said select column name from information schema dot columns. First, we from information schema we got the table name, okay, and then we have the table name, and we want to see its uh, column names, okay. So if we recall, staff user table name was staff users. I think so. Okay, export syntax error ID. Okay, it gives the ID. Okay, but we need the password of the staff use. Okay, so we'll say skip first one, then skip second one, then we have the password. Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay, so we have this. Okay, now, okay, now we can say that select. Okay, okay, so we have the password. I'm sorry for my. Okay, so we have the password. Okay, we can see the password, but we want to see what is the Martin's password. Okay, so let's see column, select column name from select column name. Okay, for limit. Okay, as we can see there is password and there is username. Okay, so we can come here and we can select username, select username from select username from what is the table names? I guess stuff users. Okay, limit is this. Okay, as you see, we have the username Martin. Okay, now we can instead of the username, we can and once again you can change your limit if it's not present there. Password. Okay, and if we use that password here, and if we use it here, check password, correct password, and we got this flag. Let's see. Let's copy that flag and paste it here. Okay. So this was the MySQL error-based. Okay, error-based SQLi. Okay. So this way you can like it is very straightforward. Like you have to use an error message and get the content out of that error message. So that was all from this uh, lecture. I hope you understand it pretty well, and I'll meet you in the next lecture. Till then, bye bye.